Welcome to Stoic Daily Stoicism. In today's video, we're going to talk about something that most men will never fully understand. Yet once you see it clearly, it will completely change the way you interpret attraction, rejection, and the hidden psychology that determines whether she feels drawn to you or whether she silently places you in a category you never wanted to be in. Let me start by painting the picture if she gave herself to him within hours, but made you wait for weeks, months, or maybe never at all. It was never about timing. It wasn't about morals. It wasn't about respect. And it definitely wasn't about her so-called boundaries. It was about how she perceived you the very moment you walked into her world. You didn't lose because you lacked value. You didn't lose because you weren't worthy. You lost because she could read you like an open script. There was no spark, no tension, no mystery. She didn't need to sit down and analyze you. She didn't need to talk it over with her friends. She didn't need a list of pros and cons. She felt it instantly. And that feeling was enough to put you in a box. Here's the part that stings. You were never in the category you thought you were. And it wasn't because you said the wrong thing or made the wrong move or failed to text her at the right time. It was because your energy spoke louder than your words ever could. You walked in trying to impress. He walked in with nothing to prove. And that contrast? She felt it in her gut before you even sat down. This isn't about blaming her. It isn't about hating her. This is about facing the reality no one told you when you were growing up. You're not here to feel better. You're here to wake up. And once you wake up, rejection will never look the same to you again. You'll stop seeing it as a loss. You'll start seeing it as a signal, a message telling you that something inside you must evolve if you want to be experienced differently. Let's break it all down. Number 1. The unspoken rule: most men think attraction is built over time. They believe if they just take her out on enough dates, send enough kind messages, or prove themselves as loyal, eventually she'll see them differently. But here's the reality. She doesn't need 3 dates to know who you are. She doesn't need candlelit dinners, deep talks under the stars, or carefully crafted compliments to figure you out. She already knows before you even say a word. Not consciously, but instinctively, her nervous system reads you in seconds. Your energy gives her the entire script before your mouth even opens, and within 10 seconds, she has already sorted you into one of 3 boxes: the lover, the man who awakens her body, who she craves without needing an explanation, the man who excites her, pulls her in, makes her restless, the provider, the man who offers stability, validation, comfort, and maybe even resources. She appreciates him. She might even respect him. But her desire doesn't burn for him. The friend, harmless, predictable, always there, but never touched. Here's the brutal part. Once you're placed in a box, you don't get moved. You don't climb from friend to lover just because you waited longer. You don't graduate from provider to desire just because you bought her more dinners. You don't evolve into the one just because you've been patient. Once she places you, you fade into the background. She files you away in her mind as someone safe, predictable, and ultimately forgettable. You thought effort would change her mind. You thought if you just proved yourself hard enough, she'd see what you really bring to the table. But effort doesn't change perception, and perception is everything. She decided before the conversation even began. Not fairly, not logically, but instantly. So ask yourself, which box were you placed in? Number 2, the 3 male categories. Now let's go deeper. There are 3 roles a man can play in her story, but only one of them ever leads to passion. Let's break them down. 1. The wild card. This is the man who enters her life like a spark in the dark. He's bold. He's unpredictable. He doesn't play safe. He doesn't flatter. He teases. He doesn't seek approval. He stirs emotion. He carries himself with a certain edge, not reckless, but untamed. He speaks in a way that unsettles her routine. His presence shifts the energy of the room, and suddenly she feels awake, alive, pulled into something primal with him. She doesn't wait. She doesn't rationalize. She doesn't weigh pros and cons. She feels a hunger she can't ignore. 2. The stable oneness is the man who is kind, predictable, responsible. She might see him as husband material. She might even imagine a future with him. But she doesn't ache for him. She doesn't feel urgency. She delays intimacy, not because she's guarding her values, but because there is no fire burning in her body. She respects him. She tells her friends he's sweet, but sweet doesn't make her restless at night. 3. The emotional mule. This is the man who gives endlessly. He listens. He supports. He pays. He waits. He sacrifices. He becomes her diary, her shoulder to cry on, her therapist, but never her desire. He is hugged, but never craved, respected as a good guy, but never felt as a man who awakens something inside. Her. And if you've ever found yourself holding her tears while she ran off to someone else, then you already know this category too well. So ask yourself, which role have you been playing? 3. Sexual chemistry versus emotional safety. Here's a truth that most men never want to face. Lust doesn't wait. It doesn't need logic. It doesn't need permission. It doesn't need time. If she feels it, she moves instantly. If she doesn't feel it, no list of good deeds will ever change her mind. The man she gives herself to quickly didn't earn it. He didn't prove himself with gifts or endless effort. He didn't win her with rehearsed lines. He carried himself with a presence that pulled her in, a tension that bypassed her thoughts and hit her body first. You, on the other hand, may have shown up with kindness, with patience, with comfort. She appreciated it. She thanked you for it. But she didn't feel it because safety without spark creates comfort, not craving. Desire doesn't build slowly like trust. Desire ignites like a flame. And if that spark doesn't ignite early, you can spend months or years chasing something that was never there. It's not that you aren't enough. It's that her body never reacted when you walked in. And that's the truth no one told you. 4. Why the nice guy fails. The nice guy doesn't fail because he's good. He fails because he's desperate. He gives what no one asked for. He buys gifts to buy emotion. He texts first, texts again, and then resents her when she doesn't respond. But here's the thing, she never asked. She didn't reject kindness. She rejected the pressure behind it. What he thought was generosity was actually a plea, a silent cry. Please notice me. Please pick me. He wasn't used. He was dismissed. But because he kept showing up, kept offering, she took. Not out of malice, but because he offered without boundaries. And in her mind, he became just a friend. But friends don't pay rent. Friends don't obsess over texts. Friends don't wait months in silence hoping for more. He wasn't a friend. He was a cushion, a backup plan, an emotional safety net. And she never respected that, not because he was weak, but because he gave himself without being asked, again and again. That isn't love. That's self-sacrifice without return. And deep down, he knew it. 5. The psychology of female filtering. You think attraction is about money, height, or sending the perfect message. But it's not. She doesn't remember the car you drove. She doesn't remember the exact words of your text. She doesn't even care about the number in your bank account. At least not at first. What she remembers is how you made her feel. The men she chooses quickly don't always look better or earn more. But they make a deeper mark. They carry tension in their voice. They speak with pauses that demand attention. They move like they have nothing to prove. That unsettles her. It breaks her logic. It bypasses her checklist. Mystery creates friction. Friction creates curiosity. Curiosity overrides logic. You were talking about goals. He was leaning in with silence. And her body felt it in her spine. 6. How money, texting, and compliments work against you. Most men think they can buy attraction. They think if they spend more, text more, or compliment more, she'll eventually give in. But if she isn't drawn to you, the more you give, the less she feels. Compliment too soon, and she rolls her eyes. Pay too early, and you become her provider. Text nonstop, and you make her the center of your life before she's earned that place. Generosity doesn't create attraction. It only amplifies what's already there. Without desire, kindness feels like a trade. And no woman sleeps with trade-offs. She doesn't want to be bought. She wants to be moved. And that doesn't happen when everything about you screams predictable. Number 7. Stoic seduction flirting isn't about clever lines or jokes. It's about energy. It's about carrying a calm presence with a spark of play. Speaking slowly, looking her in the eye, saying less, pausing more. You're not flirting to win. You're observing. Reading her rhythm, you're not chasing reactions. You're creating tension. If she leans in, you reward her with warmth. If she steps back, you fade without resistance. No drama. No proving. No desperation. You don't shout your value. You make her curious. Mystery makes people feel. And desire isn't born from logic. It's born from the unknown. Number 8. The energy first rule before you spend your energy. Make sure she has leaned in first. Attraction isn't built by effort. It's built by impact. Let her feel your presence before you give your attention. Let her want you before you invest. You're not auditioning for AR.